That once we are back, we'll be looking at what's being reported in the dailies. And this morning, we have the Standard, the Daily Nation, and also BD. Not PD, BD. Yeah, and the Standard, they're saying pressure mounts as schools admit 1.4 million from once.
Oh,
my niece included.
My sister included.
Are protesting the high cost of taking their children to secondary schools.
Yeah.
Teachers are burning the midnight oil, wondering how they will accommodate the learners in institutions whose facilities are already bursting at the seams and with little funding.
Wow.
And so 3.8 million learners, the numbers, rising numbers of learners in secondary schools. The Form 1 admission is expected to push the population of learners to almost 4 million. That is a story that you can read on page 4, extensively covered there. So parents are crying foul over the high prices of all Form 1 requirements. Those caught up in last-minute rush preparation lament about high prices of school uniforms, bedding, and books. So most essential items required for admission had their prices doubled. And the schools, another story on page 4, they're saying schools are yet to receive capitation funds. A week after reopening. So secondary schools could be headed for financial crisis as they open doors to 1.4 million learners joining Form 1. Some 1.2 million learners will also be joining junior secondary school as they transit from primary school under the competency-based curriculum. And it's another story that you can read on page 4. And we continue to pray for this education, system, sector rather, because this is the future of our children.
That's true.
And if we mess it now, we are messing with the future of millions and millions of children. So if there is one sector that we need to bury, the hatchet and bury our differences and focus on ensuring it is thriving, it is the education sector, because these boys, these girls, their future depends on the same. So if we are not taking care of them, if we are not taking their education seriously, then they will never forgive us because we will have messed up with their future. Right. I also see on the front page of the Standard, Raila rails at church leaders for going to bed with government. So Azimio la Umoja leader Raila Odinga has criticized the church over claims they have abandoned Kenyans and told prelates to speak the truth to power as Kenyans are hurting due to the high cost of living. And it's a story extensively covered on page 2. He was speaking at St. Stephen's Anglican Church of Kenya in Kisumu, claimed the people who were masquerading as true Christians, talking about liberating the people from poverty and ignorance, they have now turned out to be the oppressors of the people. And he said the church needs to speak and also emulate the late Bishop Charles Okulu, Bishop David Gitari, and others. He said the said church leaders were prepared to stand firm at the time. Speaking the truth was akin to treason. So it's a story you can read on page 2. I also see 9 top Kenyan universities revealed in latest ranking. So 9 local universities are among 100 top higher learning institutions in the region, according to Uniranks, the world's university ranking body. The University of Nairobi, Kenyatta University, Strathmore University, Jomo Kenyatta University of Science and Technology are ranked best in Kenya. We also have Mount Kenya University, United States International University, Egerton University, Moi University, and also Kenya Methodist University are also among top-ranked Kenyan universities in that order. And this is also a worrying trend. It's captured on page 3. Airbnb murders. Police yet to find a suspect in the death of woman who is 24 years. The woman was stabbed and chopped in an apartment along TRM Drive. They followed the blood-stained traces which led them to a dustbin collection point where they discovered the body. And it's a sad story. This also coming, is it weeks after another case of the same Airbnb, another murder happening. So it's a worrying trend, and we hope that police can rein on the same. And also, we avoid, because it could be a trap. So you need also to be cautious on the same. Farmers sell 24 billion shillings coffee at city auction. Currently, NCE is accommodating an average of 20,000 bags of coffee weekly. According to the NCE report, farmers in the past year received more than 24.8 billion shillings from the sale of their produce. That is on page 19. Still on the front page, planners of Dusit D2 attack pay heavy price. Security agencies say Violet Kemunto lives a life of scholar in Jilib, Somalia, where she fled to before the attack. She had taken part in planning. She spent her time as a language teacher linked to Al-Shabaab. Read that on page 10. On page 6 and 7, it's all about CDF money, and they are reporting that pain and tears over delayed CDF money. So needy learners on the brink of empty NG CDF bursary coffers. Some institutions have begun sending learners home to collect school fees, with the worst affected being students in day schools. Ganze MP terms the delay in the disbursement of the same as an extremely unfortunate state of affairs. So 10 billion shillings is the amount President Ruto had promised would be disbursed by last week, but according to reports, the same has not yet been disbursed. MPs are piling pressure on CS to release funds. Ruto's promise that the NG CDF allocations would be released before schools reopened, yet to be fulfilled. That is a story you can read on page 6 and 7 inside this is the Standard. On the pullout, health and science, when a child is born with a hole in the heart, according to the World Health Organization, 5,000 children require congenital heart surgery in Kenya each year, but only a small number receive such interventions, and they are speaking to experts about the options and the gaps that exist on the same, and it is covered on page 4 and 5 inside that pullout. Taiwan voters elect troublemaker president loathed by Xi Jinping. It's on the World News on page 22. I go to the back page, and this is the sports pages.
Yeah.
Machos ndio wanasema, they say tears as Nigeria's Super Eagles failed to soar high. Osimhen got off the mark as Nigeria drew at AFCON for the first time since 2013. African Footballer of the Year Victor Osimhen was instrumental in the 1-1 final score against Equatorial Guinea. Ivorians coast to victory in AFCON opener. It ended 2-0 over Guinea-Bissau. And in yesterday's other matches, actually, as Egypt were taking on Mozambique, and it ended almost the Pharaohs being beaten, but a late equalizer gave them a point, so it ended Egypt 2, Mozambique 2, and then Ghana, the Black Stars of Ghana, there was a huge upset. They were beaten by Cape Verde in the late encounter at night. And of course, the same continues today.
Yes.
We have the Teranga Lions, the defending champions. They will be taking on Gambia at 5 p.m. At 8 p.m., my team, the Indomitable Lions of Cameroon, will be taking on Guinea. And then at 11 p.m., former champions, they are called the Desert Foxes, Nigeria. They'll be taking on Angola at 11 p.m.
When is Senegal playing?
Today.
Oh, today also.
By now you will be at home.
Okay.
It will be at 5 p.m.
All right.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
That's my team. Do they have a name? You know, I hear
Teranga Lions.
Teranga Lions.
Yeah.
Nasikia Egypt actually the Pharaohs.
The Pharaohs.
Wait. Hey, I
so
cannot.
That is in the Standard.
Yes.
The Red Devils, Manchester United, walionyeshwa kivumbi. They were lucky actually. Yeah, it ended 2-2. But they almost lost to Spurs.
Yeah. Okay. Why are you not saying we? Yeah? We. You don't.
We imetuumiza sana.
Watu hata hawakujui.
Hii mipira ya wazungu. Afadhali AFCON.
Si ndio? Hiyo at least we can. Indomitable Lions of Cameroon.
Exactly.
That's your team.
That's
okay.
My team. Right.
Wow. All right.
So
okay.
Yep.
And let us look at the Daily Nation, and I can see some similarities, and especially in the another woman killed, dismembered by lover in City House. I think these cases are becoming really bad. I almost feel like it's something that we need to pray about. It feels like it's a spirit, that it's an unclean spirit that is happening. Because what is leading people to that level and making it seem as if this is something normal? This is not normal. This is paranormal. This is on another level. But the Daily Nation, the very top page, I see schools taken to court over debts. Interesting. I see there's a crisis just a week after schools reopened, and suppliers have dragged institutions that owe them money to court, even as principals asked the government to release unremitted billions of shillings under the free day secondary school education. This is a story that you can find on page 6 and 7. And on the page 2, of course, it's about state slashes fuel prices for the second month running. Let us look at this. It says DSL prices dropped below the 200 mark for the first time in 5 good months. So we have reduced prices occasioned by a drop in the cost of Marban crude. Okay, and I see here that Kenyans will continue enjoying lower fuel prices for the second month in a row after the regulatory authority announced reduced pump prices for the month ending Feb 14th, 2024. And I see here that 207 shillings is the new price per litre of petrol in Nairobi after the government slashed the fuel costs yesterday. And 92 euros, the price per barrel of Marban crude oil in the global market, down from 93.92, and 5 shillings is the amount of money per litre by which petrol prices were reduced in the latest review by the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority. I guess this is good news, but again, I'm hoping that this will also translate to other commodities going down, because sometimes the fuel prices can go down, but then the commodities ziko pale pale, hazisongi. Mtu anakwambia hii stock
haijaisha bado.
Haijaisha.
So we finish
this stock
and then maybe
and then, just maybe kwambia shilingi 5 sasa ni nini? Hiyo ni kitu ya ukasiri kubagain kweli. But yes, and I won't even touch on the story about alums as another woman found dead in short-term rental houses, because we have also looked at it in the Standard. But I think this is a reason for us to pray, because this has become on another, like it's just gone on another level. And I think it's important for people to be really, really careful, even with the, going to these Airbnbs. Back then when Airbnbs began, it was for families to enjoy, to have a good time, or for people who are working to just have time to unwind, even as they just work in a different location. But now they are being used by perpetrators. So it's something to be careful about, and even those Airbnb users to know how then do we strengthen security to make sure that nothing of the sort happens. To inquire, huyu mtu unakuja naye mnajuana, what are you coming here to do? What's your purpose? I think we need to strengthen, kamba inafaa kukazwa kidogo upande huo. And I see also speak out against state ills. Raila tells church. See opposition chief recalls how clergymen Okulu, Muge and Gitari kept the government on toes. Anasema the church should speak about the heavy taxation this government has burdened Kenyans with. It is not a question of just raising taxes. You don't borrow to pay debts, because when you do this, you're just increasing the debts. Let us get out of this debt hole. And I think this reminds me of the sermon yesterday by Bishop Kalisto Odede, because he was saying that it's, Raila is saying that the church should speak against taxes. I don't think there's anything that can be said that hasn't been said already. But now Bishop Kalisto was just talking about, do we have engineers even within the church who can advise the government on better ways to make sure that we're not having these blackouts? Do we have teachers who can give a better way of education reforms? How do we go about it? Do we have doctors who can contribute to how we can get good medical care, but then at lower prices? So I think we need to get out of this complaining thing and look at how can the church actually bring solutions and tell the government, hey, this is how you can improve. This is how you can do better. And I see Oparanya Halwale bury the hatchet. Okay, I see we had a consultative meeting and I realized that Dr. Halwale is a gentleman. I never knew that over the years. Some reconciliation here. Oparanya and Halwale meeting signals at the beginning of the search for new leadership for the county head of 2027 elections. Okay, a story that you can find very well on page 5. And on page 6, I see schools face lawsuits over billions owed to suppliers. A story you can find on page 6. In Nyeri, suppliers have filed over 10 lawsuits at the small claims court in the past 4 months. Flipping over, I see Ruto Museveni seek to iron out differences in oil deal. Okay, I see Uganda reported Kenya to the East African Court of Justice after being denied access to the latter's oil pipeline. But I see PS Malonza says a meeting has been scheduled for the leaders to discuss the dispute, and we are hoping that indeed they will come to a consensus. And I also see taxpayers to lose 237 million a year in port water deal, also on taxes, a story that you can find on page 10. And just quickly, naona muda kidogo unasonga, but let me just look at the sports page. That is Super Eagles wings clipped. Sasa Super Eagles ni kina nani? Wacha nione kama unajua.
Si hapa tu Nigeria.
Sawa, ina shida, no problem. Nimejua leo, no problem. Osimhen scores as Nigeria held by underdog Equatorial Guinea. All right, it is going quite smoothly. I think we'll see how it goes for that. And I also see something else, that Gambia boss plays down chances. It's all about the AFCON right now. Definitely that is happening. Is it happening in Cote d'Ivoire?
Yeah.
Yes, happening in Cote d'Ivoire. And you can find that story on page 34, 35, and of course the last page of the Daily Nation.
Day 3 today actually of AFCON.
So day 3. Okay. Bado inaenda mpaka how many days?
Up to the 11th of February.
11th of Feb. Yeah. Okay, nita watch 10th na 11th.
Utawatch hivyo 10, 11.
Hizo siku tu ndio kwangu ndio itakuwa muhimu.
Okay. State House upgrade to cost taxpayers 795 million by June. Renovation cost increased by 600 million in mini budget. 117-year-old structure set for significant upgrade. That is in as far as the Business Daily headline is concerned. And you can grab your favorite copy, get to see what is being reported. And also right here at Hope Media on Hope FM. Actually, currently in the morning shift, we have Maingi Mbogwa updating us every top of the hour of what's happening. And of course, we have Dira at Hope TV, and then at 9 p.m. we have Newswatch on Hope TV as well. So you can tune in for up-to-date, to be updated on everything that is happening within and also outside the country in as far as news is concerned. We continue to be encouraged. Let's read, get to know what's happening in our nation, and also so that as believers, you see, we are being challenged as the church. The church usidhani ni bishop ama ni pastor, ni wewe pia. So that as the church, we get to know how to pray for our leaders and also how to pray for the +254.
That's very, very true. And also it's a reason to thank God. Fuel prices have gone down by 5 shillings. So that's a big deal. I think that translates to a lot.
So currently retailing at 207.
207, yes.
Diesel, also below 200.
Yes, so it's something to be grateful about as well. That could translate to something awesome. But anyway, let us right now take a very short break, even as we watch the video of the day. And then when we get back, we'll be telling you what will be happening in the second hour.